Welcome to Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen. Today we are talking about goal setting, and I'm in the hot seat.
I'll be learning all about how to set and stick to goals, like finally following a gym plan. This is Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen, where food and health meet real talk and maybe a little friendly fire.
Thanks for joining in our discussion today, where we discuss food, health, lifestyle, and what to do when you burn dinner.
It's not burnt, it's caramelized. It may get a little messy while we're stirring things up.
From kitchen hacks and hot health takes to wellness tips and who really left the stove on.
It's two voices, one mission: better food, better health. All right, Mom, are you ready to teach me all about how to set and maintain my goals? Because I'm excited to learn.
Well, I certainly hope so. I've done my homework and have had a little bit of experience setting, failing, trying again, and then finally succeeding in my goals.
Well, I think that's part of reaching goals is failing, I mean, it's not always a straightforward path as we might like it to be, but you
It's
learn
true.
something in every failure. I like to call them life lessons, not failures.
Exactly. They are not failures. They are just little steps on the little path that has the stepping stones of life. So
Exactly.
we're well past the New Year's resolution. And I don't know about you, but mine is already in the rearview mirror. Because most of the time we set New Year's resolutions and they last about a month. And mostly because, well, I'll get into some more of the details, but it's predominantly because they are not very detailed and they're sometimes a little on the vague side, like I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to give up alcohol or whatever it is. I'm going to run a marathon. So actually, there's research that shows that 23% give up within the first week of a New Year's resolution, and
Wow.
another 43% give up by the end of January. That's
That's why everyone
crazy.
you see at the gym, it's like it's so busy on January 1st, and then by the end of the month, it's just all the regulars again.
And that's why they sign you up for these really amazing deals, and then you got a monthly membership, and they know you're not going to be there. So, yeah,
Yeah, for the
there's that.
rest of the 12 or 11 months of the year, they're just purely making profit while you're just sitting at home on your couch eating bonbons.
Exactly. When I was kind of researching for this episode and doing a little bit of digging and looking at why New Year's resolutions fail, it's actually because often we do it as a tradition and not really at a time when we are really set to make change, either by choice or by need. It lacks the real weight to really put behind a goal, especially if it's a personal goal, such as going to the gym, getting fit, getting healthy, things like that. And these obstacles are really hard to get past because they're not planned for. So like you come upon, okay, let's say you decide, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week. Well, then maybe you get a cold or you have work expectations or something, and you haven't thought about the plan of how you're going to get past that. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. We'll unpack that. And I'm going to let you start asking me the questions and I will weave in the rest of the information, hopefully. So
All right.
fire away, kid.
I'm ready. I'm going to actually start with my last question because you were just speaking about how, when life gets difficult, we often just let our goals fall by the wayside and we don't really follow through with them. So it's easy to stick to a plan you've made to reach a goal when life is going well. But the fact is that things in life are never always good. They inevitably hit road bumps. We all have peaks and valleys. And often when I'm in a valley, I lose sight of the goals that I've set. And it's the first thing to go from my daily routine. I go to bed late one night because I had a really busy work day, and then the next day I'm just too tired to go to the gym, so I don't go at all. How can I stick to my goals when things in life inevitably become a bit turbulent? And what is the benefit of sticking to a goal when times get tough, aside from obviously inevitably bringing you closer to something that you want to attain?
So, one of the things in setting goals or part of the process when you're trying to set a goal is actually to think through and state, like, let's say I want to go to the gym. And it's like, okay, I'm going to set an alarm so that I don't forget. Or it's I am going to walk for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the afternoon. Or if I can't make it to the gym, instead, I am going to set an alarm for me to do squats, 10 sets, or not 10 sets, that would be a lot. Do like
I
10
mean, it's
squats.
only 10 sets of like one.
One.
So you're only doing 10 squats, so
Right, that's not bad. So it's thinking through intentionally your alternative plan so that you're already setting yourself up for what to do in case. Because
Mm,
inevitably that roadblock or that speed
yeah.
bump is going to come. And so it is thinking of alternative ways to still put some exercise into your day, even if it is not going to the gym. Maybe it is taking the stairs, parking further away from, like, when you have to run errands, you gotta go to the grocery store, parking at the end back part of the parking lot and walking in. All of that is still movement, and maybe you could find a routine that's like one of these using your own body weight, 7-minute type things of, like, basic, uh burpees, not that people love burpees, but maybe it's high knees running in place for 30 seconds, jumping jacks for 30 seconds, push-ups for 30 seconds, dead bug exercise for 30 seconds, right? All of those you can then have 30 seconds of that, 30 seconds of rest, 30 seconds of something else. And if you repeated that a couple of times, there you go, you've got your exercise in.
Mm. So having a plan B and C and D for, if plan A, the original plan to go to the gym fails, then you have a plan B, and let's say for whatever reason your plan B fails, having your plan C as just sprinkling in extra movement throughout the day. I think that's better than doing nothing. That's for
Because
sure.
you're not throwing it out saying, "Well, forget it. I
Mhm,
didn't." And the worst thing to do is, like, you miss 2 days at the gym. Maybe
mhm,
you're just sick or you really are, like, not able to get to the gym because, like, you
mhm.
need to use your energy to get well. So you
Yeah,
come down with a cold or something. And that's recently happened to me. I mean, I came down with this horrible cold, and I'm still getting over it, and it's
I
been, like,
remember
almost a
it
month.
was
I was
weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and I was running right before that. I hadn't run
Mm,
in a couple of years, and I was out, like, I ran 3 miles. Well, okay, ran, walk, but I still was like, to me, at 55 years old, for crying out loud, run, walk, I'm doing alright. Um, and I got sick, and I'm like, "Crap," right? But I'm still walking, I was still doing things, just a little less, giving myself grace of knowing, "Okay, I need to heal and get better, do what little bit of movement I can do, not just lay on the couch the whole time, unless, like, when I was feverish, yes, I just stayed in bed. Getting up, moving, and then doing that, and then I didn't necessarily lose all of my momentum, but the last thing you wanna do is go, "Well, I missed a whole month of workout, forget it, screw it, I give up, I'm not gonna do it," at
mm,
all. It's
yeah,
it's getting back into it and getting back on that path rather than just giving up and saying, "Well, I couldn't achieve that perfection, so
mm,
I'm not doing anything at all."
mm. Well, I'm gonna circle back around to question 1 now.
Okay.
We started with dessert, and now we're going back to the appetizer.
Awesome, awesome. Loving how you're weaving in that food.
So what do you think is the importance of setting goals? Like, why can't I just decide I'm going to do a thing and then have it happen? And how can one set goals that are more likely to be followed through until the end?
Well, first of all, like, you wanna drive somewhere, if you don't know where you're going, you're not probably gonna get there unless you've been there before. The
That's
same is for goals. Like, you need a map or a GPS or Waze or whatever, like, some form of directions to get there. The same is for a goal, is to write down your intention for the goal. However, it can't just be like, "I wanna eat healthy."
that's too
That's not
vague.
gonna it's way too vague. You need them to be SMART goals, not just like, well, you're really intelligent goals. No, it's SMART is an acronym, and it stands for,
Specific,
specific,
measured,
specific exactly,
attainable.
relatable, and time bound,
Ah,
or realistic and time bound,
okay, yeah.
actually.
I
Yeah.
got 3 out of 5. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Because if you don't create these specific goals that have a measurement. So instead of saying, I want to get healthy, it is maybe it's you're going to focus on your blood pressure, right? And you're going to say, okay, I want to get my blood pressure into a normal range in the
Healthy
next
fish.
3 months because that's realistic. And it's attainable, and you're going to consult with your doctor as well in this plan too. And so you've got the time bound, it's the 3 months, it's specific, it's measurable because you can use a blood pressure cuff to measure your blood pressure, and it's attainable to get that down in a realistic time frame. It's the same with saying, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? Well, you can't just say you want to lose 10 pounds. You have to, it should be realistic. Weight loss should be slow and attainable in a way. So you shouldn't say like, well, I'm going to drop those 10 pounds in a week because that's going to be water weight. That's coming back on. And realistically, people can lose about a pound to 2 pounds every week, but expect you're going to hit a plateau. So I'm going to say, I would like to have my scale be 10 pounds less in 2 months. And I'm going to do that by increasing my exercise, by adding in some weight exercises as well as aerobic exercises, 30 minutes a day, and track my calories, right? So that's like very specific. How are you going to do that goal? And then there was another part to that question. Oh, writing it down is also
Mm.
extremely important too. You can say it out loud, but there's some research that states that when you write that goal down and like stick it on the fridge or stick it on your, like, tape it to your mirror in the morning, you see it every day, that it is more likely to be achieved if you
Hmm.
have it where you can see it.
Well, you've already answered my second question, which was why is writing down your goals so important? And why are we more likely to reach a goal that has been written down? And is it possible that I can still reach the goal that I set out to reach without writing it down?
It is possible. It is certainly possible. I mean, I have a lot of goals that I'll put in my mental head. I never write them down and I still achieve them. I think it's that if you're really struggling, or maybe it's a goal that's just really hard to attain, or maybe you've done it before and failed, then maybe try that tactic, like write it down if writing it or not writing it down before didn't work. The other thing is to have some accountability partner is another way to go about it. So, like, you tell your someone that is a trusted person in your life who isn't going to be snarky about it or maybe give you negative vibes on it, someone that is going to support you in your goal
And
and
encourage
believes in you, that's a
in a
person that you
positive
could
way.
have maybe check in with them or have
Mm,
the asked if they could check in with you.
and is encouraging and
Yes, exactly. You want
positive.
positive feedback.
Yeah.
You don't want someone to go, "Hey, don't eat that." Like, you've gotta have someone who's gonna not be, like, watching you like a hawk on everything you've put in your mouth if you're trying to get a diet or eat healthy. We're like, "Well, you can't have that cake." It's like, "No, you can have the cake, but not every day." Or you can have a glass of wine once in a
Mm,
while. It's okay. But just know that have to balance that with, what days are you not going to do that? Because in order to achieve your goal, you do have to make some changes and I wouldn't necessarily call them sacrifices. I don't like to put it that way, but you're making an intentional choice to have the healthier option because
mm.
then you'll be on a healthier path.
This is not a question I've written down, but just one that's come to me now for people who are dieting or decide, they want to lose weight, so they're um following a more healthy eating plan as opposed to dieting. I don't really like the word diet, but
Yeah.
it does describe, I guess, what a lot of people do. Like, what is your opinion on having a cheat day for, because it's so hard to stick to a diet or an eating plan 24/7 for an extended period of time. Do you think that a cheat day is like a little reward that can help you maintain your goal in the long run? Or do you think it diminishes you reaching your goal because you get to have the thing, and then you are like, "Oh my gosh, like I've been starved of this thing and now I just want it all the time," and it kind of like is like a slippery slope to where
Mm.
you have your cheat day and then you're just like back to your pre-diet eating.
Right. Well, as a person who suffered from eating disorder, yeah, when I was younger and because I was not allowed to have a lot of sweet things, right? So then I
Mm,
was like, "Oh, give it to me and I want to eat the whole box of Oreo cookies. Give it to me all." Well, there was one book I read years ago and don't ask me the name of it. I can't remember, but the premise was essentially like eat the whole damn box of cookies. Because guaranteed after you eat the box of cookies, you're gonna be feel so sick, you're not gonna wanna touch them damn things forever. It's like if you've drank tequila and you get a hangover from it, you're not touching that tequila again, right? So there's something to be said for that. However, if you're a person who could literally eat the box of Oreo cookies and you do that every day, then that's not necessarily good, right? So I do believe that cheat days are that way to kind of find balance because you're you're giving yourself the opportunity to have the thing that you are the rest of the time of the week not partaking in, and you're learning how to have that in a portion size,
mm.
because I think this is where a lot of people get kind of messed up is that they just fork it down, man. They just, like, inhale that sucker, and they don't enjoy it. Because they want, during that cheat day. So it is to be intentional about, like, have cheesecake. Cheesecake's totally loaded in calories. However,
Of
it's
one
not
slice,
enough calories
not
that
the
you're gonna
whole
gain a
thing.
pound,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's okay, go out for an extra walk and, okay, you walk a mile, you're gonna burn, uh, like, maybe 60, 70 calories or whatever, or how about 100? Usually, it's about 100 calories per mile. Whether you run it or walk it, by the way, doesn't matter. You run it or walk it, you're gonna burn about the same calories. It's to do with the intensity and the length of time. It takes you longer to walk the mile than run the mile. So it's actually, it pretty much works out to be about the same. So you could do a little bit of extra exercise or whatever if you really wanted to on that cheat day, so you feel less, like, more balanced, but I think truly it's just give yourself some grace, enjoy it, but, like, truly enjoy it. Sit and be mindful with it. Take those bites and just really savor it and think about the taste because the thing is, like, the French, they're very thin, but they eat a lot of stuff that's fairly high fat because the fat in it's going to satiate you. It's gonna satisfy the appetite, so you don't need to eat as much. Just eat a smaller portion of it. That's all. So you can still enjoy it. You can have your cake
Sure.
and eat it too.
Next question. I think we've answered a bit of this one, but so many of us at the new year, we want to set goals around our health and losing weight, or in my case, gaining weight. I'm always trying to gain weight because I'm very thin and I want to be more, I want to take up more space. So at the outset, when we have a vague idea of how we want to achieve our goal, we often fall short, which we've already talked a little bit about, setting SMART goals so they're specific and measurable, attainable, reachable, right? Or no,
Realistic,
realistic
which is
and
the same,
time
reachable.
bound.
Yeah, exactly.
um, how can I make my goal of setting weight seem less daunting? Because it's just in my mind it seems like so difficult. I have to eat in a calorie surplus, and for me the biggest one of the hardest things is just in general making sure that I'm getting enough calories to maintain my current weight throughout the day because I'm so busy, and I almost always miss at least one meal a day, sometimes two, which I know is not good. But
Yeah.
how can I, and then also in addition to just eating, I also have to go to the gym and lift weights so that way my muscles are being torn and then are growing, and so that way I can gain muscle weight as opposed to just eating a bunch of food and then gaining fat, because I definitely don't want that. But how can
Right.
I make that goal of gaining 10 pounds in 6 months seem like less of a impossible goal?
Well, I would say break it down. So I always take a goal and I think of it as like, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you can't eat the whole thing
One
in one
piece at a
gulp.
time.
You take one bite at a time, right? So if that's the case, then it's like, okay, write down the things that you do need to achieve that. So if it's 10 pounds and each pound you need 3,500 calories extra in excess to gain a pound, essentially.
Wow,
That's kind of how it works calorie
that's
wise.
a lot.
Calorie in, calorie out. There is some research that's saying that that's a little bit less the case, especially for losing weight, has more to do with hormones and things like that. But it still does. Like if you are looking to gain weight, you need to ensure that you're eating an ample amount of protein, but you also need carbohydrates too, not just protein. You need to stimulate the muscle growth, but you do need to say, okay, have an excess of X, right? So let's say realistically, they're 7 days in the week and 35 is divisible by 7. So you could do 500 extra calories every day.
Hmm,
And in a week, you could gain, or for those like me who want to lose, you could lose a pound. Because you could technically, with, say, if you did 250 less calories or if you 250 more calories, but you need to eat that because you are so busy anyway that you're not gonna, like, burn 250 less calories. So for
yeah.
you, it's like, "Okay, I have to put in that mu h how do I do that?" And it's like, well, you've got 1 day, 200 or 500 calories. Well, break that into 3 meals or 4 meals. So maybe it's just, like, 100 extra calories in the morning, another snack of 100 extra
Mm,
calories. Then now you can see how breaking that down is now an achievable goal because it's like 500 seems like a lot. If you're kinda trying to do it at dinner, yeah, except for you, like, eat a piece of cheesecake, you'd be fine. But,
or a
I
stick
think
of
it's
fruit.
also important, though,
That's
for
probably
us
more than enough.
to now we've already talked about inflammation, that was a previous episode. Um, so I think this is also important for us to give context and give a little history of the reason why Lauren has a difficult time, gaining weight. And Lauren, as she talks about, has Crohn's disease. As a child, this child was the only kid I've ever seen who would not eat a whole bowl of ice cream if stuck in front of her. She's not motivated by food, and part of that is because she's had pain when she ate when she was little due to the Crohn's disease. So for her, it's very easy for her to just forget to eat. Whereas for me, that ain't happening. I'm gonna eat most of the time unless I'm super, super busy. So I think adding a little context to that of for our listeners as to why you do have difficulty
Yes,
gaining weight
and
and
that is
500.
very true. I thankfully no longer suffer from any type of stomach pain, and I'm very grateful for that. It's been a long road, and I am very glad to be in the position that I'm in now. But I am also a very busy person. Ironically, I work 50 hours a week cooking full time for a family, so I'm always surrounded by food, but when I'm at work, I just find it very difficult to actually eat when I'm moving around working. Like I don't it's when I eat a meal, I like to be able to sit down and enjoy it and, savor everything that I'm eating. And I've it's very difficult to do that when I'm moving around and working. So that's why I have a difficult time even getting a regular 3 meals a day, but it is something that is a goal that I want is honestly even more than gaining 10 pounds. I'd like to just be able to eat 3 whole meals a day, and I would honestly probably gain weight just from that.
Well, so that is where you have to look at and analyze, like, your day, the
Mm,
cadence of your day, and how are you going to fit that in? And then say, "Okay, well, you're leaving for work at what time?" And then you go, "Okay, breakfast," right?
yeah,
Breakfast needs to be your, like,
on the
somewhat
go. A smoothie. That's
a
usually
smoothie or a larger meal,
mm,
type of thing. And then maybe in the middle of the day when you're really rushing around, you can't, that you've packed yourself some nutrient dense and maybe somewhat calorie dense, but healthy calorie dense, um, food that you can eat intentionally, but it's smaller, easier to consume. And
mhm,
then dinner can be another one because you often can eat dinner when you get home. So then it's like, okay, that could also be another one where you can pack in some of the calories that you can't get in that block of time when you're kind of working. Um, and then taste a little more while you're working, as a chef must
yeah,
anyway.
that's true. I do try to snack throughout the day, but it just, like, when you're eating little bites here and there, it doesn't really feel like you're getting, the I guess, the calories or the benefits of it, which obviously you are, but because I am standing on my feet for, 10 plus hours a day and running around and carrying heavy things and picking them up and putting them down, like,
Right.
if I'm only eating, if I skip lunch and breakfast, I often skip breakfast and lunch, which is not
Oh, see,
good.
that's one that
um,
you could get away with not doing. That is like, yeah, don't
I
skip breakfast.
when I
Most
do
important meal of
skip
the day.
breakfast, I rarely have the time to cook in the morning for myself. So I'll make myself a protein smoothie that's like loaded with stuff. And that way, I can have it on the go when I'm driving to the grocery store and then when I'm, at the grocery
Mhm.
store or driving from the grocery store to work. So that I find is the best way for myself to be able to eat breakfast. But then in the middle of the day, I will just have like a little bite for lunch and then I won't eat dinner until usually like 9 o'clock at night because that's generally about when I get home. from work.
So, it sounds like there's an obstacle that you could then come up with plan B, um, in your morning, right? So, your
Mm,
morning is like often you skip breakfast, but you do, a smoothie or something. So, that's a great, example of, okay, what are some ways that you can ensure that you have it already ready to go so you don't even have to, like, think about it, right? So, could you
meal
prep
prep breakfast.
prep your protein smoothie, and maybe you don't wanna already blend it because,
Mhm.
they can settle out and all that, but you could make 2 or 3 like, ready to dump in things that you could dump in there and then whir it. So that literally only takes you, what, 30 seconds, a minute to get
Yeah,
it going. You can do some things like that, make some really high protein, overnight oats with some protein powder in it, which I do. Or what I do sometimes is I'll make up, and I even travel with this. I make up canning jars with my oatmeal and everything, and I just pour hot water over it.
mm,
And so I put all my stuff in it. I shake it up. I always have chia seeds and flaxseed, and I'll throw in my protein powder, and then I add the water. I mix it up. I cap it with one of those like the plastic lids you can put on um the canning jar. I use the pint-sized canning jar, and it's just perfect. It fits right in my cup holder, and then when I get to work to my desk or, you can eat it at stoplights, maybe that's not exactly the best thing to do, but, as you're going. But, it's if you make it thick enough, you put in 3/4 of a cup of oats and then all the other stuff, it actually, like, it's sticky enough to the spoon that it's not messy. But I just eat it at my desk, or I just eat it when I first get in to work. Um, that's another thing that you do, and I'll travel with that. I throw those in my suitcase. Yeah, TSA might be like, "What's that?" Kinda weird, but, that is one way that, one, I avoid the ridiculous expensive breakfast at some hotels when I go to conferences. In Hawaii once, it was like $35 for some oatmeal. I mean, granted, it was Ancient Grains oatmeal, but $35 for freaking oatmeal, that's
I would
ridiculous.
buy, like, 2 bags of ancient grain oatmeal that you could get, like, 40
Yes,
servings from.
correct. Um, yes, and then discovered this lovely breakfast place that was not in the hotel down the way in a strip mall, and, had breakfast there the rest of the time, and it was like, 10 or $12 with eggs and some fresh papaya on the island and stuff. But
Mm,
anyway, we're digressing. So to get back on topic, that's kind of really how you're doing the goal setting, is you are looking at, "Okay, I've got an obstacle here. I'm gonna analyze it." And then break it down to think about other ways to approach that obstacle. And that's really how you're going to get
mm.
over it and then continue on the path. It's one step at a time, it's one day at a time. And you mess up one day and you don't do your plan. That's okay. The next day, you start fresh and you're right back on it again. So it's really that simple. Is maybe okay, you don't do it in the time that you allotted. That's okay. You're still moving towards the goal. And so maybe you extend it, but it's not that big of a deal.
I think the biggest thing for me is that because it's funny you saying, make up smoothie packs that you can just pop in the blender and blend up in a minute. Like those are all these convenience things are things that I do for my clients. So it's not something that I'm like not aware of, it's just like I don't want to take the extra time on my, like, time off to help me on my, like, not time off, So
Mhm.
and it's just excuses, like, I'm too busy to do that or, you know, I'm I don't have the time and that's always it's just excuses.
Well, really, that's what it is, and that's anything. It's a habit. It's an excuse for everything. It's like the only reason why you have a goal to reach whatever it is, whatever goal, is because you're not doing it right now. If you were doing it, it would like be already your habit or already part of your life. So right, so that's really what it is it's you're making a change, and change is hard. But you've got to give it 21 days. It takes 21 days to create a habit for anything. Sometimes it takes a little longer than that. But if you're consistent with it, then it becomes like, oh, okay, I've got this. I'm doing it now. And if you fail it one day, it's okay. Keep at it. Keep a journal. Write about your successes. Write about the things that are difficult because I think when we start to kind of put that into words, it starts to become easier to get over that because we're like, oh, that really is as we're talking, right? Like you have the answer right there. It's just, "Oh, well, that's the thing I have to do." And then it's setting an alarm or setting a note or whatever it is, to make that a priority because the things that we prioritize are the things that are the important things in our lives. And so if it's important for you to reach that goal, then make it a priority. But sometimes we we like to undermine our own goals because we often it's a mindset that we don't believe we're worthy of them. There's like this little voice in our head that's like saying, you're not good enough to do that. Like we actually have to fight that to reach that goal. You know, when I was getting my PhD, which is a huge goal, it takes a lot of effort to do it. And at one point, I was like, you know, you get that imposter syndrome. You're like, how the hell did they let me into the school? I'm not smart enough to do this. There's no way I'm going to do it. And I went into my advisor's office and I'm like, I'm in tears. Like, I don't know how to do this. He said, look, you wouldn't have gotten accepted in the program if you weren't able to do it. He said, you are capable of doing it. You just have to get like
Work at it.
get into the mindset that you are capable
Mm.
instead of defeating and self-defeating and saying, no, I'm not good enough. And once you start to believe you're good enough, you're going to begin to achieve your goal because you are going to mentally make it a priority and not just the physical priority or just writing it down. So I think this gets us transitioning into talking about
More
the book.
question. But I have oh, I
Oh,
mean, you
you
could
have
talk
another
about it,
question?
but I have
You have
one
one more
more.
question? Okay,
Yeah.
let's make it quick.
Well, we've kind of dipped our toe into the subject of this question a little bit already.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more than a toe. We're like at the knees,
Okay.
but we can dive in
Just
all the
go
way.
full in and get ourselves completely submerged. All right, let's go.
What are some actionable and simple steps I can take to make eating healthier seem less difficult without feeling like I'm sacrificing all the foods that I love to eat? So, for example, I currently am detoxing from mycotoxins that are in my body because I was living in a moldy apartment, and this is a whole subject that we're going to talk about in our another episode. So I'm not going to talk about it too much, but in regards to my detox protocol, I am cutting out a lot of the foods that I really like, dairy and wheat and grains, other grains. Yeah, it's difficult because I love to eat bread and I love cheese. um, so it just seems like really hard. And at the end of a long day, when all I want to eat is a giant chocolate chip cookie, what is going to stop me from just saying, fuck it to this diet and making a better choice? When my willpower is so much higher in the morning, I'm able to make healthy choices in the morning, but then, at the end of a long day, how can I practice better self control to make choices that my morning self would make?
Mm, that is a tough question. Let's see. Well, I would say, again, that comes back to that kind of obstacle and how you're going to intentionally get over that obstacle. So let's say chocolate chip cookie is your like go-to, and you really want that damn chocolate chip. Well, chocolate chips. Okay, some have a little bit of dairy, but go with the high chocolate. Well, if you're going for the chocolate, right? Because you really want the chocolate and the cookie's just the delivery mechanism to get the chocolate into your body. Just get like a bar of 70% dark chocolate and savor that, and maybe that is enough to satiate your, like, want of the chocolate without going down and with, like, your the wheat and things you're trying to give up, without truly being, like, a total sacrifice. I suppose that's one way to do it. Another would be, are there other food items that you could do, like, some frozen fruit, maybe like a sorbet. Like, you could throw some frozen fruit in a blender and have that, and that could be something that is easy. So having some alternatives that are there that you can have within the diet that you're trying to follow, and are readily and easily available, that are some pleasurable food items, I think would be one way to do it. Another way would be, instead of going for the food item as your, like, go-to thing, what are some other pleasurable things that you could do? Taking, I don't know, a hot bath, sitting with a hot cup of tea with some honey in it, um, reading a book, or maybe it's binge watching, I don't know, whatever you wanna watch. It's also maybe taking a nice walk. Go to the beach because you are, very close to a beach, whereas I have to drive a couple hours. Finding the things, and it doesn't have to be a food thing, that give you pleasure. So you are gonna eat and be whatever it is that you need to do for calories, but maybe there's something else that you can replace that thing. But I know it's very hard at night. You're like, "I want calories and I want it to be a cookie." Um, you could get the alternative gluten-free something, but they're definitely not worth the consumption, unless you can find someone who makes an absolutely amazing, but I know you've been down that road, so, um,
It's not for me.
it's not for you. Right, exactly. So, like, if there are other ways to make some, like, I don't know, peanut butter chocolate with some oats mixed together type something something that makes, like, cookie-like, that is grain-free, potentially. Yeah, so that's what I would say would be a way to tackle it is, you're not trying to replace like for like, you're trying to meet the feeling that you want. That what are you looking for? Why are you eating the cookie? Well, because, it's the end of the day and you want something pleasurable, you wanna just check out, maybe whatever it is. Um, then it's finding some other thing that can also bring you that feeling. Or journal about your feeling, about why you want the cookie without actually eating the cookie, is another way to deal with it. But it is literally going to be a sacrifice. I mean, that is, you're resetting your goal. You're doing it for the long-term achievement of the goal. And yes, sometimes the reality is you have to put in the work to achieve the goal. And I think that's sometimes missed in the whole goal thing.
Mm. I think
So,
one of the biggest proponents towards reaching a goal is when you start doing the thing that you want to do, and then you you gain confidence by doing that thing, and then you get that like little, I don't know if it's endorphin or like serotonin boost of like,
mhm,
wow, like I followed through with the thing that I said I wanted to do. And then it's like this self-fulfilling loop, like this upward spiral. Whereas then when you stop doing the thing, it's obviously the reverse, to where you miss a day at the gym and then you're just like, oh well, screw it all, like I I did all this work for nothing, like, and you start to get you get that negative voice in your head where you're like, oh my gosh, like you did it again. But then if you are following through with what you want to do, it like it's the opposite voice where you're like, wow, good job, you did the thing, like you're doing so great. And then it helps you keep going. But then like often the negative voice in your head is a lot stronger than the other one. So even when you've been doing this thing for a period of time and then you miss one day, the negative voice is like, "Oh, well, you should just quit now, like that was so hard. Like why did you even try to do
Yeah.
that?" So, it's
Our negative voice is our worst enemy, and that is a survival thing because we are literally focused on always on the negative to stop us doing stuff. So, it is really important to actually, um, focus on the positive and know that you can have a thought, but it doesn't have to give you the same feeling. So, like, you can not have that same feeling about that thought. You can tell it yourself no, and then your action is how you're gonna follow through. So, thoughts just come and go in your head. Don't give it power. Yeah, I missed that today, but last week I was successful in this. And I did it last time, I could do it again and move forward. And that is also why breaking a goal into small little tasks is also important, taking it day by day. So if you do miss a day and for whatever reason, it's an obstacle or other things, that the next day you can take it back and you just it's like a reset. Okay, picking up as if yesterday and my oops, cheesecake I ate a whole cheesecake. Oh, well, if you eat a whole cheesecake, you're probably not getting out of bed because you're not gonna feel good.
probably gonna be
But
sick.
anyway, right? Like that is the thing is like that happened. It's in the past. That's okay. Today I start fresh. I'm gonna start on this goal today. I'm gonna do these little tiny tasks that are gonna reach my goal. So I think we have beaten that horse till it's totally dead.
I'm out of questions. You've answered them all. I'm ready to go forward and set these goals.
You can't then anyway. We're on a
I can
podcast,
see it
so right.
forward.
Mindset is the book I'm going to talk about today. It's by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. And it is mindset changing the way you think to fulfill your potential. Came out in 2006 and it is still as pertinent today as it was almost 20 years ago. But Carol Dweck, or Dr. Dweck, as I should definitely refer to her as, is one of the leading researchers in the field of personality, social psychology, and developmental psychology. She named the terms growth and fixed mindset, and her work into this research of the growth and fixed mindsets has been revered by millions who seek to change the way they approach their goals. Her book, the Mindset book, unpacks the truth about mindset, achievement, and abilities. And she presents several examples of famous people like Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan and demystifies the thought that they were just born with a gift. She details the difficulties they overcame and how their mindset and their hard work are what led them to achieve their goals. Because it really is all about like Michael Jordan, he wasn't picked for the team. He actually didn't get into the first school he wanted to go to. Um, and with these disappointments, that caused him to work really hard. So there's this growth mindset and fixed mindset. They're kind of, let's say, opposite ends of the coin. And it's a spectrum. It's not like you are only a growth mindset or only a fix. You're generally maybe tending to one side or the other. Fixed mindset is like, oh, I'll never get there. I won't do it at all. And a growth mindset is, I can do it. I need to learn these things and I need to try harder. And so it is trying to get yourself from the fixed mindset mentality and slowly moving and edging yourself towards the growth mindset. And so this book really does kind of walk you through many, many, many examples, as well as some guides on both our own personal and both business, relationship, as well as sports or things of that nature. But also for parents, coaches, and teachers to help the younger set in establishing a growth mindset from the beginning, like in taking on the tough challenges and not letting it stop you. I think often they call it grit, and tenacity. Like, why does one child achieve something and the other one doesn't? Predominantly, it boils down to the one child had a fixed mindset. They just feel like they were born with whatever abilities they were born with, and that's that. And the ones with the growth mindset go, well, Maybe not super talented, but I know I can get there, and then they just, work hard towards it. So, I think, it's a great read and, one that actually Olivia, um, Lauren's sister, my youngest, who is now on the world archery team and ranked 3rd in the country for, Olympic recurve archery, and that book was actually recommended to her by a coach and, seemed to have helped her along her journey because she just continues to work very hard at it. It's not just a natural talent, and Lauren worked very, very hard at her cooking skills and and in creating recipes and all of that, and it's gotten her to where she is today as well. It's not just about whatever you're born with, it's about the work that you put in to achieve whatever goal you're looking for. So talking about food and cooking, we have a battle, don't we?
We do. And I don't know. I think I'm winning, but I guess we will figure out who gets the gold this round in the kitchen when we discuss our, what is it, pomegranate recipe?
Pomegranates, yeah, it's pomegranate season. It's coming to the kind of the end because we're recording this in December, where pomegranates are prime out there and, perfectly ripe and beautiful, and pretty for the Christmas season.
Very
And so I've got my recipe and I need to write it up, but, we are going to discuss it next.
yes.
So see you in the kitchen.
See you in the kitchen with the fire and the knives for the battle to begin.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. We'll
Thank
see you in the kitchen. Bye-bye. So, the food item today, pomegranate. And Lauren actually sent me a recipe that is poached pears 2 ways, which involves poaching them in pomegranate juice, which I thought was very good. What a great idea. You can get 2 recipes for one. And so you can have it for like a themed dinner, especially wintertime with pomegranates. So I did the salad, which has a poached pear and it has pomegranates in it. It has a reduction of pomegranate that you take and reduce the poaching liquid, which is really good. Make that. And so let's see, does Stefan think it's good?
Yes, it's refreshing. Very, very nice.
Refreshing. There you go. So in the winter where it snowed today, we have both refreshing winter weather outside and a refreshing salad on the inside. Great job, Lauren. Like the salad. It came together easy. I'm looking forward to doing the dessert in just a sec. But first, I must chow down. The dessert was absolutely amazing. Loved that mascarpone cheese. Doing this recipe was really easy. Coring with a melon baller is always how I go about getting the core out of the pears. You can also even do it if they're whole or in half, but this recipe, you want to cut them in half. Poaching them, super easy. You're going to fold that paper up in multiple different folds. It makes it easy to get the size right by basically just measuring it over half the pan that you're using and cutting that, placing that over in the pan, and then you're going to get that weighted down with a plate. Doing it, this recipe was fantastic as a kind of weekend recipe that was snowing outside. So of course I could go on and do some other things while it was simmering and prep some other items. So wonderful recipe to do ahead and do on the weekend when you have some time, but you have lots of other activities to get done. Really great job, Lauren. Love the simplicity of the recipe. Love the fact that I could make some extra pears that we actually can have later. Good on a breakfast yogurt and granola or something along those lines. The pears looked absolutely gorgeous because of the pomegranate juice, and it came together so easy, and the house smelled amazing. This recipe is a definite win-win. You gotta try it. Great job, Lauren. I really liked it. Thanks so much for sending.
Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen again. Today we're here with a beautiful pomegranate recipe made by my mom. It's a roasted Brussels sprout, sweet potato, and pomegranate dish. I was gonna say salad, but that doesn't really make sense because it's hot. It's not a salad. Not that salad can't be hot, because I guess in some respects it can be. But anyways, I'm excited to try it. It smelled really good while it was cooking. I was not able to make it exactly the way that my mom had put in her recipe just because I don't have an oven. But I think it turned out great regardless. So let's give it a shot. I want to get a little bit of everything in there. Well, this one is very good. Right off the bat, I give it a 10 out of 10. The maple balsamic sauce that it's tossed in really brings it all together. It gives it like a sweet tanginess, and then with the pomegranates also being like a sweet and kind of tangy, crunchy bit with the toasted pecans, like it just really, it hits all the like notes that you want it to. The only thing that I think maybe would make it just like over the top, like a 15 out of 10, you can disagree with me, but maybe just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. But I'm a cheese whore, so what can I say? I like cheese on everything. So it doesn't need it, but it would be good. So making my mom's roasted Brussels sprout and sweet potatoes with pomegranate seeds recipe, she called for roasting all of the ingredients in the oven, whereas I don't have an oven. So instead of doing that, I ended up cooking everything in my cast iron pan separately. And then I added them all back together at the end and finished cooking them that way. And I think it turned out really well. Not quite the same as roasting them, but you still get the very nice caramelized flavor from cooking them at a high heat over cast iron. So if you don't have an oven, you can switch up the recipe this way as well. But I really like this one. Thank you, Mom, for sharing. And I hope you guys give this a shot and let us know what you think. Or if you have your own pomegranate recipe that you really like, feel free to share that with us as well. We here at Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen just love sharing recipes and food and different techniques for everything. So I hope you try it and enjoy it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.